Bay is like no place else.
Wait, you can't recycle the bag? You have to throw it away.
Proper recycling keeps it that way for everyone. Bags tangle in machinery and can bring sorting efforts to a halt.
No bags.
Trash the bags and keep our recycling program moving forward.
No, Mom, look, no plastic bags.
Do your part to keep our recycling bag-free. Trash the tanglers or return them to participating retailers. For more information, visit TampaBayRecycles.org.
Welcome to a meeting of your Planning Commission, the official local planning agency for the cities of Tampa, Temple Terrace, Plant City, and unincorporated Hillsborough County. The Planning Commission provides innovative leadership and long-range vision that contributes to the creation of a thriving, prosperous community that offers opportunity, fairness, and choice in how we live, move, learn, work, and play. For more information about the Planning Commission, please call 813-272-5940. Follow us on social media or visit our website at planhillsborough.org.
Welcome to the September 11th, 2023 regular meeting of the Hillsborough County City-County Planning Commission. We thank you for attending this meeting. Your comments and participation are encouraged. For those attending in person and wishing to speak on any agenda item, please sign the register at the rear of the room and turn off any devices that may be a distraction. To minimize feedback in the audio, all online participants in the meeting will be muted until it is their opportunity to speak. Planning commissioners should unmute themselves to indicate that they would like to speak. Please be sure to state your name at the beginning of your remarks for the benefit of the clerk. There will be an opportunity for members of the public to provide comments. When your name is called, you will be unmuted when it is your turn to speak. Please wait until the chair calls on you to begin speaking. State your name at the beginning of your comments and adhere to the time limits. If anyone is watching or if anyone has difficulties or is watching via HTV and would like to provide comments to be included in the record for the local government hearing, please email them to planner@plancom.org. That's planner@plancom.org. For action items, the meeting will be conducted as follows. The agenda will be introduced. Staff will give their presentation with a 15-minute time limit. The applicant will be given the opportunity to make a presentation with a 15-minute time limit. Following presentations, members of the public may address the Planning Commission. The applicant will be afforded a 3-minute period for rebuttal or response. Planning commissioners will ask questions. Public comment will be closed. Then upon a motion, a second, and discussion, a vote will be taken. With that introduction, I'll ask that everybody please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance and the invocation. Prayer first. We are thankful for this day that you have given us, Father, for it is blessings, it is opportunities, it is challenges. May we appreciate and use each day that comes to us. We ask for strength and guidance through the day's proceedings to help us make decisions that are in the best interest of the entire community. Help us recognize our differences and mobilize them for the good of the community and its common goals. In God's name we pray, amen. Salute. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, thank you. And with that introduction, I will ask for the clerk to please go ahead and call roll.
Good evening. Bernstein?
Here.
Bowden?
Here.
Buzza?
Here.
Cardenas?
Here.
Fernandez?
Here.
Handy?
Here.
Kress?
Here.
Loke? Loke? Surya?
Here.
Morton?
Here.
Rodriguez?
Here.
Joseph?
Here.
Thank you. You have a quorum.
Thank you. All right. Next up is our second agenda item, public input for items not scheduled on the agenda, and we had one individual sign up for that. Stephanie Pointer. All right. You need the Elmo? Yes, please. Get the Elmo going. There we go. Nope, hit the button, the red button. There you go.
Good evening. My name is Stephanie Pointer. I wanted to come by and speak to you about a hearing that we had about a month ago, and I wanted to point out a few things that happened during that hearing because public comment was not allowed after there were lies told to this board. Flat out lies. I want to start with showing you the state statute that says that this board's job is a recommendation of the authority, the consistency of such plan amendment, and what's in the comp plan. What's in the comp plan for the city of Tampa is no new density in the CHHA. Okay, I wanted to make sure that everybody understood that to start with. I know you guys all know what a comp plan is. I highlighted it. It's on page 227. I want to start out by saying thank you for being here. This is not an easy job. I'm on the budget committee for the city, so I know how much hard work you guys put into this. There were some folks who laid this on the overhead and said this was the CHHA for the city of Tampa. They swore up and down that was the case. This is not the CHHA that our comprehensive plan applies to. This is the CHHA that is in our comprehensive plan. There is a big difference between the two of those. This goes along with our evacuation zone A. This has no relevance to anything that comes before you. Sorry, but it doesn't. This is a map of the shelters that were put on the overhead during that particular hearing. They said there are 10 shelters within 10 miles of our property. Remember, I live next door. 5 of them are in South County. If you look at this, at the numbers on the bottom, they're between 25 and 35 miles from our home. That's not 10 miles away, unless we're swimming across the bay, which I'm not doing. Now this last part, I'm gonna lay this out here, and I think this is the most basic part of the lies that we're told. Because I hate to call people liars, but when I went home and I looked on MLS, they said this property here was built in 1991. That's not the case. It was built in 1968. It is a wooden property. It was before the hurricane took it out. But yet they told us it was built in 1991. Here are the tax records. Why would you come in here and tell you folks a story? Why would these people lie? I don't understand that. I don't know why they would, but this is the most basic understanding for me that the lies were told and people believed it. And it doesn't matter, the evacuation times haven't changed. What you do in Channelside, I don't give 2 flips about. I care about my community being flooded. I care about my community not being able to evacuate. And I care about people coming in here and telling lies and us not being able to get up and refute it. And you are more than welcome to have these documents so that you can further investigate them. And my compadre, Carolyn
Ms.
Bennett,
Pointer, your
asked me
time's
to
up.
hand this out.
Can you
Please take one and
wrap it
pass
up,
on.
please?
Yes, I'm completely done. If you have questions, please ask Mrs. Ornita. Please ask Mr. Hay. Please ask any of the certified planners that work for the Planning Commission or the City of Tampa if I'm telling you the truth. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.
Thank you. All right. Next up on the agenda, we didn't have anyone else sign up for public comment for items not on the agenda. So we'll move on to item number 3, items for action on the agenda. The first action item we have today is FY24 through FY28 City of Tampa Capital Improvements Program, CIP, and Capital Improvements Section, CIS Schedule of Projects Update. And the presenter is not Diego Guerra.
The presenter is Melissa Dickens, Planning Commission staff. One moment, let me get this up on the screen. All right, good afternoon, commissioners. Again, Melissa Dickens, Planning Commission staff. This is an action item this afternoon, and a resolution has been provided for your vote. This is one of the reviews that comes before you each year for our local government CIP and CIE schedule of projects. This one in particular is for the City of Tampa. But again, this is an action item, and a resolution has been provided. Some background on this item, Chapter 97-351 requires that the Planning Commission conduct an annual review of the city's capital improvement program and ensure consistency with the comprehensive plan. Chapter 163 in the Florida statutes also requires that all local governments update their schedule of projects annually for those projects that affect levels of service. This proposed change would replace the existing CIS schedule within the Tampa Comprehensive Plan with the schedule that's included in your packet. This update is accomplished by ordinance. This review is also looked at for consistency with the Tampa Comprehensive Plan as well as the plans for adjacent jurisdictions. For the FY24 through FY28 CIP, there are a total of 183 projects for approximately $1.654 billion. You can see the largest categories of projects within this 5-year program are for water, wastewater, and solid waste. The city staff also identified those projects that affect an adopted level of service within the comprehensive plan. There are a number of different projects that affect different areas of level of service. There are 105 projects total within the capital improvement schedule. Your capital improvement section, objective 1.3 and policy 1.3.2 require that the schedule contain projects that either eliminate a deficiency or repair and replace existing infrastructure. Out of those projects that are in the capital improvement schedule this year, 92% of the projects met either of those categories. There is also policy within your Tampa Comprehensive Plan in the Coastal Management section. Objective 1.4 states that the city should limit the funding, public funding, and facilities within the coastal high hazard area. There are approximately 55 projects within the coastal high hazard area. Of those projects, they either repair or replace existing infrastructure, enhance recreation areas such as park facilities, or provide protection from flood hazards, so seawall projects and things of the like. And your staff recommends that you find the proposed FY24 through FY28 CIP and CIS schedule of projects consistent with the goals, objectives, and policies of the Tampa Comprehensive Plan and forward this to Tampa City Council. This concludes my presentation. I'm available if there are questions.
Thank you very much. We didn't have anyone sign up in the public comment for this item, so I will turn it over to the planning commissioners for questions or discussion items on this one. I had a quick question. I saw parks, recreation spaces flash by in the grouping of areas that were getting investment, although they're in the coastal high hazard area. What percentage of it was the recreational part? Do you have an idea off the top?
I am not able to pull up that specific number right now. I could look in the data that we have and find out how it's broken down. But in terms of the, do you mean the percentage of the?
Like of the things in the coastal high hazard area that are getting money, getting funding, how much like are parks and recreations of that? Because I know, I'm just wondering, a while ago, we just went through the activity of reclaiming a bunch of land for parks and recreation. So now if we're having to spend money for those reclaimed coastal high hazard area parks and recreations, it seems sort of odd to me. Not that I'm against any of this, I'm gonna vote for it or whatever. It just, I saw it popped up and it just seemed odd to me, so I figured I'd ask the question.
Yeah, absolutely. I would have to go into the GIS data and see how it's broken down. The way that it's reported in the report is just a total of the level of service projects that are within the CHHA, but I'd be happy to look into it and get you.
Yeah, let me know. I'm just interested in it just for the, I know it's City of Tampa, so I'm not, going crazy over anything, but I'm just interested.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Are there any other comments or questions or discussion items from the commissioners? Not. Oh, Commissioner Handy, please.
Yeah, I have a question on the slide that talks about seawalls as one of the bullet items. And I'm seeing in, where did it go? In one of the objectives here, there it is, CM policy 1.5.4, the use of seawalls and riprap is prohibited unless it can be demonstrated that without it, beach erosion would pose serious threats. So how does that balance with the bullet items that you showed on the slide? Or are those the seawalls that are being referred to in that bullet?
So The way that the policy states is seawalls unless riprap or other mechanisms for preventing the flooding is not feasible. So those, again, I would need to go through the project list again and look specifically at it. But I can tell you that the original analysis was done by a member of our staff who has an expertise in coastal planning issues and coastal areas. So I feel confident that he examined that. I would just have to go back and look
Okay.
at it.
So this was taken into consideration when the seawall option
Yeah,
was considered? Yeah.
that is my understanding, but I can confirm.
Okay. And are all 55 projects, they're all public projects or infrastructure projects?
Correct.
Yeah, okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Handy. Any more discussion items or questions from the commissioners? Not seeing any at this time, then I'll go ahead and close the public comment on this item and open it up to motions from the commissioners. Yes, Commissioner Buzza.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to move that we fund the title again here, it's always one of those long ones. Tampa fiscal year 24-28 CIP and CIS scheduled projects as consistent with the Tampa Comprehensive Plan and forwarded on to the Tampa City Council.
All right, that's a motion of consistency finding by Commissioner Buzza. Is there a second to that motion anywhere out there? Commissioner Bernstein.
Yeah, I'll second that motion, Mr. Chair.
All right, we have a motion of consistency finding from Commissioner Buzza, a second to that motion by Commissioner Bernstein. Is there any more discussion from the commissioners or questions? Not seeing any at this time, I'll ask the clerk to go ahead and do a roll call vote.
Bernstein,
Yes.
Bowden,
Yes.
Buzza,
Yes?
Cardenas,
Yes.
Fernandez,
Yes.
Handy,
Yes.
Kress,
Yes.
Soria,
Yes.
Joseph.
Yes.
Motion carries 9-0.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. All right, next up, we have action item 3B, Hillsborough County Public Schools Tentative 5-Year Facilities Work Plan, and the presenter is Sophia Garantiva.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Just give me 1 second to pull up the slides. All right, and again, for the record, Sophia Garantiva, Planning Commission staff, here to introduce and then later provide the consistency finding for the Hillsborough County Public Schools Tentative 5-Year Facilities Work Plan, also referred to as the 5-Year Work Plan. I did want to note before we got started that the original packet was missing the resolution, the accompanying resolution. So a corrected packet has been provided and also available online. And also there should be a hard copy on the dais for everyone as well. But as prescribed in the Florida state statutes per the interlocal agreements between the school board and each of the 4 local governments in Hillsborough County, the Planning Commission is asked to review the school's 5-year work plan annually for consistency with each of the jurisdictions' comprehensive plans. The 5-year work plan is adopted by the school board to provide adequate facility capacity for projected student enrollment. Michelle Orton is here, General Manager of Growth Management and Planning at Hillsborough County Public Schools, to present the proposed 5-year work plan. And with that, I will hand it over to Michelle.
All right. For the record, Michelle Lorton, General Manager of Hillsborough County Public Schools Growth Management and Planning. Let's see if I can get this to work. Oh, too fast. As Sophia said, we are presenting tonight this afternoon, the 5-year educational facilities work plan. This is required by state statute 1013.35. This requires us to annually adopt this education facilities work plan. I want to start first with our proposed construction projects that we've done in year 1. We had the Dorothy Thomas reconstruction. We took the modules, removed those, and built a brick and mortar building for them. Collins PK through 8, that was an elementary school, and we have added the middle school portion on to make it a PK through 8 school where it was a 5. Robinson High School, we added some buildings onto that existing high school, and we were able to add 150 more student stations to that high school. Year 2, we will be opening Manhattan PK through 8. We refer to it right now as WW. It will receive a name later. Newsom High School addition, we are adding an auditorium to that high school, and that will open in 2024. Year 3, we will be opening a Plant City Career Center. That is a high school 9 through 12, but it will also be for adult education. We'll be using training in HVAC and welding and mechanical and things like that. We will also be opening the new high school, UUU, in Waimama, and this is going to be one of the largest high schools, 3,400 students in this. I attached a picture of one of the drawings that we received. Year 4, we will be adding to Tinker PK through 8 edition. This is on the MacDill Air Force Base. We did receive a grant. It's an 80-20 split, so our portion will only be $14 million. And then year 5, we do not have anything scheduled for year 5. We've run out of funds, so we have put that on hold. We will be building later in our years 6 through 10 and 11 through 15. Again, these are just the things that we've worked on in our years 1 through 5, our combination schools, special needs, which was our Dorothy Thomas, and then the high schools. Our projected revenues, the construction and the maintenance are $2.6 billion, and then the projected maintenance and construction needs were also $2.6 billion. Our modulars were $16.8 million this year, or will be in the capital expenditures. Bus purchases, $33 million. Site purchases, $33 million. Health, life, and safety, $33 million. Before you is the 5-year work plan, and that covers what I had discussed earlier, but you're seeing the student count here, the addresses, the proposed construction cost of each of those projects, and then the opening dates and where that property is located. And as you can see here, we have year 4, and then we don't have anything on here for year 5. So every year, as I said earlier, we have to submit our 5-year work plan. We've already submitted this 5-year work plan to the cities of Tampa, Temple Terrace, and Plant City, and unincorporated Hillsborough County, and we're bringing it before you tonight for approval and for resolution. Staff will then submit this to the Florida Department of Education for approval, and then the School Board of Hillsborough County on October 17th for approval. And thank you for your time.
Hello again, Sophia Garantiva, Planning Commission staff. Here to provide the consistency review. So staff reviewed the following: capital improvements, capital infrastructure, intergovernmental coordination, and public school facilities policies of the unincorporated Hillsborough County and Plant City comprehensive plans. I'm sorry. And then also, we reviewed the capital improvement, intergovernmental coordination, and public schools facilities policies of the Temple Terrace comprehensive plan and the capital improvement and public schools facilities policy of the City of Tampa comprehensive plan. As such, staff finds the school's 5-year work plan consistent with the comprehensive plans for all 4 jurisdictions. And staff recommends that the Planning Commission approve the attached resolution finding the proposed school 5-year work plan consistent with the county's and city's comprehensive plans, and to forward the recommendation on to the Hillsborough County School Board. Staff and Ms. Wharton are available for any questions.
Thank you. We didn't have anyone sign up for the public comment on this item either, so I will turn it over to the commissioners for discussions or questions on this one. Yes.
I had a question. I really liked the concept that you're doing in Plant City. You're opening up the school in the evening for adult education. I wonder if that's a trend or if there's opportunities to do that in other schools.
We already have that available in other schools and in other jurisdictions. So this is something that is ongoing.
I was wondering about the Plant City Career Center also. Is that something that's going to be like a brand-new building, like a brand-new school building, or is that like a program within something existing out there? Or?
This will be a brand-new building, and it will house 900 students, or will be available for 900 students. If you're familiar with Plant City, they have the big stadium out there on Park. This property is on the other side of the railroad tracks. It is a land swap. We had a piece of property that we were trying to use it, but we couldn't manage it. So we are swapping land with the city of Plant City, and they're giving us some of their property, and we're giving them some of ours so that we can put this there. And it's a 2-story building, and it's got all of the bells and whistles as far as teaching students how to do mechanics and HVAC systems, and it's high tech. I mean, they're going to learn here at this building, so we're pretty excited about it.
Yeah, it sounds very cool. Very cool. All right, were there any? Oh, yes, Commissioner Krass.
I'm interested in school siting. It sounds like you maybe had to purchase some property, or if you do the land swaps, what have you. Can you just talk for a minute about the kind of the transportation and the safety analysis of people getting to the school, particularly people who might be walking or biking to the school, or can you work with HART on transit routes to the school for high school kids possibly?
Well, this school will be bus, because they're 9 through 12, so they will be able to take the bus. We are doing a traffic study. Plant City is a little different than other communities because it is within the city limits. Plant City is responsible. We work through them for our traffic study, and we're still waiting on that traffic study to be done. But it will be bus transportation for 9 through 12.
And how about people walking and biking to school?
I'm not sure on the requirements of that at this time until the traffic study is completed. And then once it's completed, we'll know more about where if and where turn signals and left turn lanes and where the sidewalks need to be.
Okay, you would just hope that the safety study might be first to see if it's a good site and people could get there, but chicken and egg, I guess.
Yes.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Kress. Are there any other questions or comments? I see Commissioner Handy moving.
Yeah, I have a question about the Waimama School. You said it would be one of the biggest high schools in the district. And is that based on current demand, projected demand? And I would also have the same questions about access, whether that's bus or private car or bike, pedestrian, because that's an enormous problem right now in Waimama.
Yes, we do have the access. It will be bused, that property. Sidewalks have already been planned. That property, we have worked with the developers in the area to have that all paved and to have the sidewalks put in. So we are taking care of that area. That is going to be more of a center also. We will be putting in a middle school and an elementary school in that area. If you looked at the cost, it's a lot more than what was planned originally. And the reason for that is all of the infrastructure is being put in now for the elementary and the middle school, so that when the time comes, all of that is already in place. But we do have a really good parking pattern put in place, driveways, the bus. We're pretty excited about it. We do have all of that information online also. If you go to our website, it will show you all the different areas and the traffic patterns that we will be following.
And was the plan based on current demand or projected or?
Projected demand, because the south area is growing so fast that we needed a new high school as soon as possible. The last high school that was built was Sumner High School, and it was also 3,000 student stations. It is overflowing. It is beyond capacity, and that was just built 3 years ago. So that's why we are in such a hurry to put this one up. because the demand is so great.
And what would be the projected opening date?
2025.
Wow. And all of the studies with parking and access and everything, that took into consideration the existing conditions?
Yes, it did.
And are improvements proposed so that,
Yes, they are.
okay.
We worked, like I said earlier, we worked with the developers in that area to have all of the traffic considered.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Handy. Are there any other questions or discussion items from the commissioners? Not seeing any. Commissioner Soria?
Yes, I had a question for Michelle. You mentioned you ran out of budget and for the last year, and there are some opportunities for federal grants. And being on the transportation board, like we always talk about federal grants for electrifying America. So are there opportunities for the school board to get electric buses that would give them grants from the federal government in that case?
I would not be able to answer that for you. I can find the answer, but I don't know the answer to that question.
Oh, okay, no problem. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Commissioner Soria. Are there any other comments, questions, discussion items from the commissioners? I'm not seeing any lights, so I will go on ahead and close public comment on this item and open it up to motions from the commissioners on this item. Yes, Commissioner Bernstein.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This time I would move that we find the proposed school district's 5-year work program of the school district educational facilities plan for 23-24 through 27-28 consistent with the unincorporated Hillsborough County Comprehensive Plan, the Plant City Comprehensive Plan, the Tampa Comprehensive Plan, and the Temple Terrace Comprehensive Plan, and we forward that recommendation on to the county school board for their consideration.
All right, Commissioner Buzzer.
I will second that motion.
All right, we have a motion of consistency finding by Commissioner Bernstein, a second to that motion by Commissioner Buzza. Any questions or discussion items from the commissioners? Not seeing any at this time. I'll ask the clerk to go ahead and do a roll call vote on this item.
Bernstein?
Yes.
Bowden?
Yes.
Buzza?
Yes.
Cardenas?
Yes.
Fernandez?
Yes.
Handy?
No.
Kress?
Yes.
Soria?
Yes.
Joseph?
Yes.
Motion carried 8-1. Commissioner Handy voted no.
Thank you very much. All right, thank you for the information, staff, the presentation. We are moving now on to item number 4 on our agenda. So we are finished with our action items for the night. And we are moving into briefings and presentations. And the first one is item 4A, HCCPA 23-13 Comprehensive Plan Map Amendment 5223 CR 579. And the presenter is Carla Llanos.
Carla Llanos with Planning Commission staff. This is HCCPA 23-13, also known as 523 County Road 579. This is a privately initiated small-scale comprehensive plan amendment on 1.66 acres. The request is from residential 4 future land use category to residential 9. The general location of the subject site is it's within the Sefner-Menger Community Plan. It is also within the urban service area. And more, you can find this property off of just south of US 92, east of Mango Road, and it's north of the Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. Now, as you can see on the aerial, the property is east of County Road 579. Now, County Road 579 does have sidewalks on both sides of the road. Directly in front of the subject site, there is a sidewalk followed by a large landscape medium. And then you do have to the north of the site is a religious institution. Further north are single-family a subdivision, and it kind of wraps around the subject site, ending just south of the property. Now, to the northwest are townhomes, and as you can see on the far east, you will also find two-family and single-family. And further to the south is Burnett Park and Mango Park, as you can see from there. The adopted future land use is residential 4. This allows you 4 dwelling units an acre, or 0.25 floor area ratio. And again, the request is to residential 9. This is going to increase the residential density up to 9 dwelling units an acre, and it increases also the commercial intensity from to 0.50 FAR. Now, what you can see here is On both sides, or on the west side of County Road 579, you'll see that you do have a long area of residential 9. And then to the east of it, you'll see it's completely residential 4. Now, as you get further north, above, Old Hillsborough Avenue, you'll start to see some of those mixed-use categories. And then as you get further south of Clay Pit Road, you'll find that you'll have some office commercial 20 and some public, quasi-public intensity there. Now, overall, the property under the existing conditions can have up to 6 dwelling units an acre, 6 dwelling units total on the property, or up to 18,000 square feet of non-residential use. Now, under the proposed, they can get up to 14 dwelling units or 36,000 square feet of non-residential. Overall, it just increases the density and intensity. However, it is comparable to what's in that area. Now, one of the key features here that we want to look at is, because this property is in the Seffner Mango Community Plan, there is no flex provision in there. Otherwise, under normal circumstances, the property actually could qualify for a flex from that residential 9. And I'll be glad to answer any questions.
All right. Are there any questions from the commissioners? Nope, not seeing any at this time. We'll thank you for the presentation and move on to our next discussion item. Item 4B, HCCPA 23-14, Comprehensive Plan Map Amendment, 5003 Dover Street, and presenter is Jillian Massey.
Good afternoon. I'm Jillian Massey with your Planning Commission staff, and I'll be presenting on behalf of Bryce Faringer this afternoon. This is HCCPA 23-14, which is 5003 Dover Street. This is a privately initiated small-scale map amendment on approximately 15.21 acres. The request is to change the site's future land use designation from light industrial to heavy industrial. The site is located in the central area of unincorporated county and is in the urban service area. It's located within the limits of the Greater Palm River Community Plan, and it is also in the coastal high hazard area. This is an aerial view of the subject site. It's located on the east side of US Highway 41 and south of Madison Avenue. The Tampa service area boundary is marked in blue. According to the Hillsborough County property appraiser, the site currently contains light industrial, heavy industrial, and vacant uses. Heavy industrial and agricultural uses are located east of the site. Heavy industrial, light industrial, and public uses are located to the south. To the west, across US Highway 41, there are light commercial, light industrial, vacant, and public institutional uses, including the Tampa Port Authority. There is a small pocket of heavy commercial uses to the northwest that are adjacent to existing non-conforming single-family detached dwelling units. And finally, light industrial, heavy industrial, and light commercial uses are located to the north. The subject site currently has a future land use designation of light industrial. Light industrial extends to the north and the south. The heavy industrial future land use designation extends west, northwest, and further north. Natural preservation is located further south and southwest. The area located directly east of the subject site was recently amended from light industrial to heavy industrial through HCCPA 23-05. The request is to change the subject site's future land use designation to heavy industrial. Overall, the proposed change would allow for the same maximum intensity of 0.75 FAR, or approximately 500,000 square feet of non-residential uses, and it would allow for the introduction of heavy industrial uses to be considered on the subject site. And residential uses are not permitted in either land use designation. And that concludes the presentation if you have any questions.
Thank you. Were there any questions or discussion items from the commissioners? Not seeing any at this time. I'll go on ahead and thank you, and we'll move on to our next agenda item. 4C, HCCPA 23-16, Comprehensive Plan Map Amendment, 13320 Kane Road, and presenter is Jillian Massey.
Again, Jillian Massey with Planning Commission staff, and I'll be presenting on HCCPA 23-16, which is 13320 Kane Road. Some background on this request is that it's a privately initiated small-scale map amendment located on approximately 3.58 acres. And the proposal before you is to change the future land use designation from residential 4 to light industrial planned. This is a general locator map for the July 2023 cycle of map amendments. 23-16 is located in the northwestern portion of unincorporated county in the urban service area, and it's also within the limits of the greater Carrollwood-Northdale community plan. This is an aerial photo of the site outlined here in pink. It's located on the west side of Kane Road and north of Gun Highway. The site is located to the east of the Veterans Expressway. According to the Hillsborough County property appraiser, the site is currently vacant and owned by the church located immediately to the south. Other surrounding uses mainly include single-family detached residential and light commercial uses along Gun Highway. This is the adopted future land use map for the subject site. Currently, it's designated as residential 4, which allows consideration of residential uses at up to 4 dwelling units per gross acre, and suburban scale neighborhood commercial, office, multi-purpose, or mixed-use projects that are limited to 0.25 floor area ratio. The site is completely surrounded by the residential 4 designation. Further south across Gun Highway is designated as residential 6 and residential 9. This is the proposed future land use map for the subject site. The proposal is to change the designation from residential 4 to light industrial planned. The light industrial planned allows consideration of light industrial uses such as processing, manufacturing, recycling, and storage of materials as the predominant uses, including support offices, warehousing, and rural scale retail uses pursuant to locational criteria. And residential uses are not permitted in this category. This slide outlines the potential impacts from changing the site from residential 4 to light industrial planned. Currently, up to 14 dwelling units can be considered on the site, and a change to the light industrial planned would not allow for consideration of residential uses at all. Under the residential 4 designation, up to approximately 39,000 square feet of non-residential development at a floor area ratio of 0.25 can be considered subject to locational criteria. The change to light industrial planned would allow up to approximately 117,000 square feet of non-residential development at a floor area ratio of 0.75. The proposed amendment would eliminate the possibility of residential uses and introduce light industrial uses. And that concludes my presentation if you have any questions.
Thank you. Were there any questions from the commissioners on this one? I was just wondering myself, like, what was the background story on this one? Like, how, I mean, it's in the middle of residential and then just light industrial is going to pop up. I'm just wondering, like, what, there has to be a story behind that somehow. So
my understanding is that the applicant is looking to do storage of vehicles or outdoor storage.
Okay.
That is my understanding at this point in time, but we haven't seen a proposed site plan.
Right. All right. I'll look forward to hearing more about it. Are there any more questions or discussions from commissioners on this one? Not seeing any. We'll thank you for the information and move on to our next agenda item. We have 4D, HCCPA 23-17 Comprehensive Plan Map Amendment, the Notice Asa Road and Campbell Oak Drive, and the presenter is Andrea Papandrew.
Good afternoon, Andrea Papandrew, Planning Commission staff. This is HCCPA 23-17, Thanona Asa Road and Campbell Oak Drive. This is a privately initiated small-scale map amendment. The site is approximately 37.11 acres. The request is to go from the agricultural rural to the residential 1 future land use category. The plan amendment is located in the northeastern portion of the county. It is in the Thanona Asa Community Plan and within the rural area. So the site is north of Thanona Asa Road and west of Campbell Oak Drive. The site's existing land use is agricultural land. To the west and north is single-family residential and vacant land. To the east and south is agricultural. Additionally, to the southeast is vacant land and a mobile home park. And then further east towards the McIntosh Road intersection is public institutional, public utilities, light commercial, vacant, and single-family uses. The adopted future land use category for this site is agricultural rural 1/5. That category surrounds the site on all sides. Further east is residential 1, and further northeast is the agricultural estate 1.2.5. The proposal before you today is to go to the residential 1 future land use category. Moving to residential 1 would increase the density by up to 37 units. The intensity would remain the same at a 0.25 FAR, or approximately 404,000 square feet. It's important to note that the rural scale neighborhood commercial, office, and multi-purpose projects would still be limited to 30,000 square feet for this residential 1 future land use category. However, residential support uses could go up to the full 0.25 FAR. 0.25 FAR. The proposed amendment would remove industrial uses, mining-related activities, and feedlots. The applicant did submit an email today to the Board of County Commissioners requesting a concurrent rezoning with this plan amendment. And that concludes my presentation. I'm available for any questions.
Thank you. Any questions or discussion items from the commissioners on this one? Not seeing any. Well, thank you for the information and move on to our next agenda item. 4E, LEC 230913 Land Development Code Text Amendment, Farm Worker Housing Review and Development Standards, and the presenter is Jillian Massey.
Hi, good afternoon. Jillian Massey with Planning Commission staff. This is a briefing on an LDC amendment 23-0913 Farm Worker Housing Review and Development Standards. Israel Monsanto from the Department of Development Services is here virtually with us to go over some background on this text amendment.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Israel Monsanto, Development Services. I will start a presentation shortly.
Israel, I have the slides up, so I can go ahead and run them for you, or are you sharing the screen?
Okay. That would be okay. You can run the show.
Okay.
Thank you. Commissioners, this is the Land Development Code 23-913. This is going to go next to a public outreach meeting, which is going to be on September 26th. Then you will see this back again in front of you on the consistency finding meeting on October 9th. The first public hearing in front of the Board of County Commissioners will be on October 19th, and then the second and final adoption public hearing in front of the County Commissioners will be on November 2nd. Next slide, please. As I stated, we only have one code amendment, and this is the Farm Worker Housing Standards. And this has been worked together between Development Services staff in cooperation with the County Agriculture Economic Development Council, AEDC, which proposes modifications and clarifications to regulations of the farm worker housing. In essence, the purpose is to modify the standards for the farm worker housing sites, and the intent is to promote the efficient development of farm worker housing and predictability in the development process of these sites. The changes proposed will touch on those different bullet points: permit review process, screening and landscaping, sidewalks, stormwater management, project occupancy, landscaping and parking lighting, and county road. Specifically, in terms of the permit review process, today the farm worker housing has to go first to a zoning review as a conditional use, and then they go to the site review. With this text amendment, the applicant will have the option to file those two processes concurrently to expedite the review process. For the screening and landscaping, we'll clarify that the buffer, the screening required today, which is 200 feet from the site zoning lot line, and an adjacent property, which is a different ownership, require landscaping and screening. With this amendment, we will also add that that requirement will only apply if between the structures, between the site, and if the structure next door is a residential structure, not another agricultural farm. For the sidewalks, this amendment will propose that there are no sidewalks requirement for farm worker housing located in the rural area, and internal sidewalks may be adjacent to parking areas or along internal driveways. Also, these sidewalks may be consisting of packed shell, gravel, or similar material that allows for accessibility, but this is also going to be subject to the Americans with Disability Act or ADA compliance to ensure that they are accessible. Parking requirements will be added. It will be 1 parking space per unit in this site, and the spaces will also be permitted to be located individually or aggregated in front of the units or in different areas of the project. The surface material will also be permitted to be packed shell, gravel, or similar materials. There will be required 1 accessible space for the project, complying also again with the ADA requirements. The stormwater management will require or would allow the applicant to utilize the whole farm in the calculation for the stormwater instead of just the actual farm worker housing sites. The project occupancy changes will be that it will be regulated by the health department, migrant labor camp, or the residential migrant housing permit standards, which is in accordance with the Florida Chapter 64E14 as amended. Lighting for landscaping and parking area will not be required, and that's consistent with other code requirements in the Land Development Code. And lastly, county right-of-ways or access improvements will not be required for farm worker housing projects. And this is, notwithstanding this, all requirements for fire marshal and first responders requirements will have to be required regardless. And again, this is in cooperation with the ADC office, as well as it was directed by the Board of County Commissioners. And we are available if you have any questions.
All right. Were there any questions from the commissioners or discussion items on this one? Not seeing any at this time, then we'll thank you for the information and move on to our next agenda item, which is item number 5, our Executive Director's Report. And the presenter is Melissa Zornita.
Good afternoon, Melissa Zornita, Executive Director. At your seat, you should have my report for this month. A couple of things that I wanted to highlight. I had the opportunity to be the guest speaker at the Tampa Bay Times Community Spotlight event, talking about what's next, the future in Tampa Bay housing. We have had some meetings with the county related to the community benefits that were outlined in the Waimama Village Residential 2 land use category. And there is a report that was put together by the Development Services Department that will be going to the Board of County Commissioners on that topic tomorrow at their land use meeting. Staff had the opportunity to present at the Hillsborough County Neighborhood Expo. They did an all virtual event, and we had appreciated the opportunity to get to share about the comprehensive plan, what the community plans are. We have a lot of work that we're doing in the unincorporated area right now. That was a good opportunity to educate people about. We've had a number of meetings related to the Tampa Future Land Use Assessment and the ongoing outreach on that. And one of the outreach meetings was scheduled during the week of the hurricane. And so it's been rescheduled and will be this Wednesday evening. That's a virtual outreach opportunity. We've also been working with the City of Plant City on an update to their Northeast Master Plan. As you all have experienced, there have been a lot of plan amendments in that area, particularly along the I-4 corridor. Many of them have gotten approved for industrial where the Northeast Master Plan had originally called for residential, or vice versa. And so we're looking to update that master plan to make sure it's reflecting what has gotten approved, and then what the land uses should be surrounding that given those approvals. There was a technical working group that met last week on that, and throughout the fall we'll be having some additional meetings as well as public outreach meetings on that. Then last week we had the opportunity to attend the APA Florida conference, and there were a lot of staff who presented on a variety of projects. I was really very pleased to see we had folks, Wade Reynolds presented on trails. I'll see if I can remember them all. Lisa Silva presented on safety around schools and parks. Melissa Dickens and Jennifer Malone presented on the City of Tampa update. Katrina Corcoran and Elizabeth Watkins presented on the Centers and Connections. I presented on a couple of things, and I think that might be it. But we were really well represented amongst the planners, so very pleased with that. A couple of other updates. This week on Wednesday, the TPO will be having their meeting where they will interview their final candidates for executive director. They are having a meet and greet with the 3 candidates tomorrow evening from 5 to 7 on the first floor of this building. So anyone who's interested in meeting the 3 candidates, it's open to the public, and they'll have that opportunity. We have a workshop with Tampa City Council on the future land use assessment at the end of the month on September 28th. During the day, we don't have an exact time of day for that, but that's something that's coming up as well. I believe after the last meeting, there was some discussion about the City of Tampa Affordable Housing Advisory Committee, and perhaps Commissioner Cardenas volunteered to serve on that committee, but I wanted to make sure that was discussed in a public forum, and then give our chair the opportunity to make that official appointment. I believe that comes with the need to find a volunteer for the River Board Technical Advisory Committee then, because Commissioner Cardenas might not be able to serve on both. So we'd be looking for a volunteer for that, and that can come from anyone on the Planning Commission. It's not, the River Board does not have to be specific to any jurisdiction. So if there's interest in volunteering for the River Board Technical Advisory Committee, let myself or the chair know, please. Okay.
Was that all? Do I have to say anything?
No, you don't have to say anything. I did have just a couple other things I wanted to highlight real quick. At the bottom of the page and on the back is the updates on the plan amendments. The one that Ms. Pointer was here to discuss, the one at Interbay, City Council did deny that request. They did find 3 of the other text amendments. They supported transmitting those to what is now the Florida Department of Commerce. We used to be Economic Opportunity, now it's Commerce. And then there was one county plan amendment that the board approved that you had found consistent. It was the one that was next to, on Madison Avenue, going to heavy industrial, next to the one that Jillian just presented about. Did want to mention just a couple of things related to contracts. We are renewing the contract with our legislative liaison, Diane Sauls, for the next fiscal year. Legislative committee meetings are starting in the next month, and so we're going ahead and getting that contract signed rather quickly so that we have continuity of service there. With, in particular, of interest this year, in addition to sort of our growth management legislation and anything related to preemptions of local authority in that regard. We have the report related to the TPO merger that is due at the end of the year, and then we anticipate that there could be legislation related to that. So that's some of the things she'll be following this year. I also had previously mentioned that we were talking with the USF Masters in Urban and Regional Planning program about utilizing their student studio to do some work on the county future land use map. Unfortunately, they did not get enough interest in the studio for this semester and are not planning until they have a permanent planner in residence to have the studio in the spring. So I'm pivoting and going to be talking to Florida State's Urban and Regional Planning Program to see if they have the capacity to do some work on this. I think it is well suited to students doing some of the work and would be a much more cost affordable option than utilizing a planning consultants and give the students some good experience. So I just wanted to let you know that update. The last thing is that there is an article at your seat that Commissioner Handy suggested you all might find interesting. With that, that concludes my report. Happy to answer any questions.
All right, I had a question. Do I have to say something official about the swap for Commissioner Cardenas? Like, does that have to be, Tracy, an official like thing done or something? Him giving up the river board and going to the...
Well, my recollection is the chair appoints for those seats, so yes.
Okay.
Whether it's done at this point or after you receive other expressions of interest as we go through the elections, that would be your choice.
That's a good point. We're coming up to the end of the year here.
I think there's a need for somebody for the city of Tampa.
Yeah, for Tampa, yeah. And no one else is interested in that right now.
Yeah,
so.
we've asked the last 2 months, so.
Giovanni, are you 100% on that? You good on that?
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it.
Okay. All right. Then it's official. Then I will officially appoint him to the housing board and take him down from the river board. And we are going to open up the river board if anyone's interested. I'd like to hear from you. So that's out there and open for anyone interested. So I guess it's official. Congratulations, Commissioner Cardenas. Yes, Commissioner Kress.
I would consider giving the River Board a trial until the next official election cycle.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Well, then
I don't know when that is exactly, but.
Well, we would have the elections in November, so
Okay, perfect.
the River Board meets monthly, so you'd have a couple months to try.
You with it? All right.
Unless anyone else is interested.
No one? I didn't see any hands. I didn't look too slow, did I? Okay. All right. Boom. It's official. Commissioner Kress is now the River Board, on the River Board, River Board appointee. All right, cool. So that's taken care of. And back to our executive director's presentation. Did any of the commissioners have any questions or discussion items from any of the things? Yes, Commissioner Kress.
I just wanted to offer that I heard from a few different attendees that Ms. Ornita did a stellar job at the Tampa Bay Times Community Spotlight event about the future of housing. And I also just want to say that we lost an employee today because she lost her lease and can't afford to live in Tampa anymore. So you have your work cut out for you.
Thank you. I did have a question on the community benefits stuff going on with the BOCC. Is any of that stuff looking like it's going to be headed back our way? I know that's baked into our policy and it's kind of set up to allow the Board of County Commissioners to kind of get specific with what they want to do. Are they thinking about sending anything back our way to put into the policy, or I'm just curious?
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure. If they want to make any changes, you are correct. It would need to both amend the comprehensive plan and the land development code because it's in both places. They had their first zoning that utilized the community benefits come before the board. I guess it was in July, or maybe it was August. At any rate, it's very recently. And as part of that discussion, they asked for this report back. But I'm not sure exactly what direction will come from it. We'll be watching tomorrow.
Still early, yeah. All right. Thank you. Commissioner Buzza.
Have we had any, or excuse me, have staff had any discussions, because we can't, with the county regarding the pairing of future land use changes and PDs? You know, we had several of those applicants bring that up, say, county wants this, and we're not supposed to look at PDs. That's not in our territory. So has there been any communication with county regarding that so we can unmuddy the water?
So for example, the items you saw today in your briefing, they will go to a workshop with the board on Wednesday. It is often at those workshops that the board directs that they want to, when it comes back to them at the public hearing, that they want to see those two things together. They do not have a more formalized process to do that. So our practice has been that we don't link them together unless the board has given that direction. And they have in some of the cases that have come before you. Ultimately, that doesn't change your role in the process because you're not in a position to review the zoning. But I think they are finding it advantageous in some of these more unique plan amendments to see what exactly the applicant's going to do and how it's going to lay out on the site. We find that with the city of Tampa as well, and honestly in Plant City we've had a couple of plan amendments that have been held from moving forward to the city commission because they want to see the zoning also. So I think it's kind of a bit of a trend right now to have that. Unfortunately, it causes the applicants to put a lot of weight on that, and that's not something that you all are able to consider.
Well, then my follow-up question would be, I mean, should our board not entertain any discussion about the PD because we have no jurisdiction over that or even a vote on it? Should that conversation be stopped by, the board to say, applicant, thank you for that, but we're looking at your land use change and not your PD. The PD is probably great, but that's not us, correct?
That is correct, and ideally, the conversation should be stopped at that area. It's, almost all the applicants try to get at the edge of that discussion in thinking that perhaps for newer members who aren't familiar with it, or just because human nature being what it is, they try to sell what the zoning they're going to is, but it's not to be considered by the board. It has nothing to do with the consistency of the proposed land use change to the comprehensive plan.
Because
and yes, everybody should be alert to that.
I would think that when you talk, the applicants are bringing up buffering and they're bringing up stuff that is totally out of our purview, that they are, I mean, not purposely, but they are certainly muddying the water because we don't see a PD. We don't, that goes elsewhere in the county process. I guess that was the reason I brought it up to begin with. And how do we, because it also sways audience folks who would not be able to make that distinction that, hey, that kind of sounds horrible or that sounds great because you're going to put, 100 rows of bushes and some street lighting and a decorative wall or something. That, again, isn't our purview. So I don't know if there's a kind of we need to make a decision as a board to make sure that, they don't bring up, hey, the city of Tampa requires a PD, so we're going to talk about the PD in our presentation because the city of Tampa has not done anything in code to tell us that we now have to, take the PD into consideration. Hillsborough County hasn't done that. Plant City hasn't done it yet. So that's kind of, maybe in your purview is if there's something we need to do as a board to say the entertainment of the PD cannot be discussed, because I think it can sway people, especially as we've pointed out several times. You can get your future land use change, and that PD can change 6 more times before the city commission, the Hillsborough County Commission approves it, or they can entirely change it.
Well, this board has been very good at being aware of that issue and voicing it from time to time, and in a fairly egregious, example of that, it seems to me a couple of months ago, the applicant was called out on it. And you're right, the general public and those people who are observing it for the first time don't understand that. That's really more of a board policy. I'm comfortable listening to you and having talked with you about this before, that you understand the difference, and at least intellectually, you're dividing those issues in your analysis. There hasn't been any discussion by the board about those items among yourselves in terms of making arguments or stating your position or about whether or not you think it is or isn't consistent with the plan. Beyond that, I think that's, up to the board to set policy on.
Commissioner Bernstein.
Commissioner Buzz, I'm glad you brought that up. I've been thinking increasingly in recent months that the status quo isn't necessarily an effective solution to that problem. And my own view of the world is that if we don't do what we reasonably can to head off that discussion at the pass, then we have no control over the testimony that enters the record thereafter, and no real ability to later rebut an argument that any decision we make is ostensibly the fruit from the poisonous tree. So I don't think, to me, that's something that this body should leave to chance. I think there are parties who come before us who are motivated by any number of different reasons, most of them probably very benign, but it doesn't take away from the fact that the net result could be adverse to the process. So I don't know if that's something that we should task this commission with in a workshop or if it calls for something more urgent, but I think it's something this body should be looking at.
Good points, Commissioner Bernstein. Yeah.
If the board's inclined that direction, and I certainly wouldn't discourage you, perhaps the chair's introductory remarks could be tweaked to make a specific reference to that and request as the public hearings are opened. That might be a way to at least start the process.
I'll do it. I mean, you know me.
Yeah.
I'm always in.
Yeah, that's easy for us to change. Additionally, we could add some language on the website, on the agenda page, and where people sign up to speak, indicating that this is not to be confused with the zoning hearing, and information related to the zoning would not be entertained by the Planning Commission. Work with you on the wording on that, but
Staff could also, of course, remind the petitioner as they're interacting with them in advance of the public hearing that that's the case as well.
yes, I believe staff does that now, but we can continue to do that. And I would say that we often have those conversations with the elected officials, reminding them as well that while it's synced up with a particular PD zoning right now, that a year, 2 years, they could come and ask for a modification to something else, and what they're getting is access to that full range of uses or the maximum density, even though they might be asking for something less than or a subset of that. Okay.
I just want to be clear here. So what we're talking about is kind of like a boilerplate statement to cover us as an agency, because let's just be facetious here. Like if somebody, an applicant came in and wanted to just totally go in on that and that's all they wanted to speak about, they could do that if they want to. They're well within their rights to do that. We have no authority as a board to silence anyone because they're doing that. We're just kind of recommending that they don't do that because it's not in our purview and it's not something that we can cover. I'm understanding.
Well, and frankly, as you've done before in egregious circumstances where that type of behavior did occur, it was certainly appropriate and desirable to put it on the record.
Okay.
It can't be more formalized. And that puts the chair kind of a bad spot sometimes too. You have a presentation. We have some great folks that come up and do presentations, but then they wiggle and weave the PD discussion or the zoning discussion into it as a matter of their record, and is there something more formal we could do?
I think the chair is correct. I mean, in terms of presentations by the applicant, they're entitled to make whatever arguments they want to. And certainly having this discussion with them and the precursor announcement should indicate very clearly the board's not going to look favorably on that. If you're a good presenter, you're going to respect the board's both legal capacity as well as their, professionalism by not doing that. You run the risk of not doing what's in the best interest of your client, should we say.
Right. But it sounds like, all the municipalities are encouraging this, so we're going to see a lot more of it. So that's why I'm maybe a little more teeth to it, but I do understand the free speech part of it. But,
All right. Are there any other questions or discussions on this one? So do we have to, are you going to do it, Melissa, or do we have to take a vote and do something, or no, we're good? Okay.
As long as there's no disagreement, we'll work with Tracy on some modification to the remarks and some information to go up on the website.
Sounds good. Oh,
and that's for our second meeting, the actual public hearing meeting, correct? Yeah, we have presentations. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Oh, Commissioner Soria.
Yes, I wanted to just highlight one thing Commissioner Bernstein mentioned, like a workshop for the commissioners as well, like a refresher, just so we have a clear definition as well, or distinction between what we should be looking at and what we should be ignoring from the presentations.
That's a good point. It might be good to do that.
Yes, we have 4 planning commissioners whose term is up at the end of the month. And so I'm anxiously awaiting to see who gets reappointed or who is not. And then if we have new members, that's in particular, we would schedule a retreat, a workshop, something like that. So yes, we'll work on that. Okay.
That was good. Thank you.
Sure.
Right.
Or if it's an online document as well, or presentation that you could just watch it online, that would work as well, I believe.
Mm-hmm. That's a good idea. Okay, thank you.
Good idea. Thank you, Commissioner Soria. Are there any other questions? Commissioner Handy.
Yeah, just curious, Melissa, how long does it take for the board to review the applications and appoint? I mean, 4, that's a lot.
Right, yes, it varies. So depending on when they made the announcement, there's 2 for the city of Tampa and 2 for the county who are up. And then they schedule them at the next available, once they get all the applications in, they schedule them for the next available board meeting. For example, at the county, Luann told me, Luann Finley manages that. She said that it would probably be the first meeting in October, first BOCC meeting in October, that they would consider making those appointments. And they don't always get to it in the meeting, or they might decide to defer. So I would emphasize that if you are one of those people, that you serve until your replacement is appointed. So you're not off the hook for October necessarily. Because, for example, it took city council close to a month to even bring up the item on the agenda to consider the appointments. So just varies by local government.
I guess it's good that I asked. I
Yes.
thought I was off the hook for October.
Oh. Well, I'm very glad you asked, yes.
All right. Were there any other discussion items or questions from the commissioners for our executive director? Not seeing any. We'll thank you for the information and move on to our final agenda item, item number 6, other business. Chair's business, I have none. Old business, I don't believe there is none. Anyone want to bring up any new business? Not seeing any at this time, then we'll kick it over to committee reports from the committees. Commissioner Rodriguez.
All right. Well, what could possibly be my last committee report for City of Tampa's Affordable Housing Advisory Committee? We held that on October 16th, and obviously a big thank you to Commissioner Cardenas for attending the meeting and participating. Had an overall discussion of, from City of Tampa on updates of their various department initiatives, but had a really great discussion led by Naaman Freeman of Bloomberg Associates, which is a pro bono consulting practice of the Michael Bloomberg organization working with City of Tampa. And they're really trying to develop some affordable housing strategies for the city. I guess one of the things that came out was that the city has a goal of providing 10,000 affordable housing units during Mayor Castor's administration, and just to meet the remainder of that $10,000 goal is going to require about $1 billion of public and private sector funding. So we've talked through a lot of the strategies of how you get there, and one of those was that increase in the millage rate, which City Council has turned down, and so I guess the city's going back to the drawing board to figure out what's next, both for affordable housing as well as the other infrastructure needs here in the city. So that was a great meeting, great discussion, and Commissioner Cardenas, handing it over to you, and hope you enjoy the committee as much as I have. Thanks.
Thank you, Commissioner Rodriguez. Are there any questions for Commissioner Rodriguez or comments? Not seeing any. Then any other committee reports? Commissioner Kress.
Okay. How many of you have purchased your ticket for the Planning and Design Awards?
I'm almost there. I have my money ready.
All right. I won that race.
After this meeting.
So it's the 41st annual presented by TICO. It's on Wednesday, October 18th, right after work, back at the Jewish Community Center, where it was last year. And again, MC Brenda McLaughlin, who does a great job with it. Lynn and team have done a good job with sponsors, so she wanted me to just give a shout out. TICO, presenting sponsor. Johnson Pope Law, the reception sponsor. Returning community sponsor is THEA, Tampa Hillsborough Expressway Authority. Returning neighborhood sponsor is Urban Planning Innovations. New this year, welcoming Greater Tampa Realtors as the innovator sponsor and HAF as the new community sponsor. And then Tampa Bay Times back as the marketing partner. Let's see, and the rumor has it that the jury has selected an incredible crop of award winners. So it's always a really nice event, and I think the planning commissioners are kind of expected to attend, so I hope you all get your tickets soon.
Thank you, Commissioner Kress. All right. Were there any other questions for Commissioner Kress on that? Not seeing any. Are there any other committee reports from anyone? Nope, not seeing any at this time. Then we will go on ahead and close this meeting because that is our last item on the agenda. So we will see you at 5 p.m. is our next, at 5:30 for our public hearings, and this meeting is adjourned at 4:30. Meeting adjourned.